This is a HeadGum podcast.
Hello and welcome to The Complete Guide to Everything, a podcast about everything. I'm one of your hosts, Tom.
And I'm Christine.
Christine, this is week number 3 for you.
Yep, 3 in a row. 3 for 3.
3 weeks, neither of us have heard hide nor hair from Tim.
Is he even still
Who knows
alive?
what happened?
Is he on a shipwreck somewhere?
Yeah, has he run off with his baby?
Maybe he ran away with his baby.
Maybe he ran away with his baby. Maybe he got, like, I don't want anybody else to touch my baby. I want to keep my baby safe from the world, and he's run off to the Galapagos Islands or something like that.
That's probably what he did.
How are you enjoying your tenure on this podcast?
It's been a real thrill. It's nice to talk into a microphone every once in
The
a while.
thrill of a lifetime, would you say?
The thrill of my lifetime, yeah. I haven't
The
done very
thrill
much.
probably most. Well, look, it's not a nice compliment if then you say I haven't done very much.
Sorry. What I mean is it's a real honor, a thrill, and a privilege to get to sit here with you, Tom.
Yes, and Ginger. Ginger's right by your side.
I know. Right after I complimented her breath, she did something a little smelly.
What?
Breathed.
Oh, breathe. I thought
I know,
you
it
were going to
sounded
say,
like
chewed her butt or something, because she does that sometimes.
Shoot? No. I don't even know what that means.
I'm going to dispense with some of the normal pageantry.
No niceties today, Tom.
No, because look, we were going to do an episode about archery and then maybe solve one problem at the end, but we got inundated with problems.
We're going to solve all the problems.
So, I think a lot of people, I no idea why, but they've heard you talk and they're like, you know what, this is the time I'm going to send in a problem. This woman, she seems like she's got it all figured out.
You think they know I'm a woman?
I would hope that they know you're a woman.
I'm a gal, not yet a woman.
Okay. I don't know what that means.
Mixed effort.
The first one, you know what?
Wait, shouldn't we intro it more so that people that don't already know about solving problems?
Email us at thecompleteguideeverything@gmail.com if you have a problem you'd like to get solved.
We're going to solve it.
Yeah.
We're going to give us, we're going to give ourselves and you our sage counsel.
Yes. Do you have any other...
I just feel like...
Any other comments about
are...
how I should be running
okay,
my
yes.
show?
Well, now that I'm in week 3, I want a clean house.
Yeah,
You're
Jesus
fired.
Christ. I'm not, you know what? Sometimes these ones are tricky where like people are like, don't say my name, but they don't say it till the end. This person, you know what? Based on this question, I'm not going to say this.
Yeah,
person's
use a
name.
pseudonym.
Give me a woman's name.
Martha.
That's too close to the actual name.
You've already said too much. Okay, I'll give you a random woman's name. How about so I'm not going to do Martha.
Okay.
I'm going to give you a random woman's name, Jane.
Okay, Jane. First and foremost is from Jane now. Christine, you're doing an amazing job filling in for Tim.
Thanks, Jane.
And Tom, great job running things on your own. I'm a longtime fan. Always feels like I'm hanging out with my friends Tim and Tom rather than listening to a podcast.
And your new friend, Christine.
Well, she didn't say
We're
that.
getting there.
Don't put words in her mouth. I have a problem, or more like something I'm considering.
Ooh.
Oh, she did say, please don't use my name unless you've accidentally already said it, Tom. You're
Jane
supposed to
knows
put that
what's
up higher, Jane.
Jane knows what's up.
Just kidding. It's fine either way.
Jane's
I've been with my boyfriend for a long time. We recently bought a house together and have a great, healthy relationship. We've never been in a rush to get married, but I just know he's the one. We've talked about marriage and both agree when we get married, we'll host a big rave in Punta Cana instead of a traditional wedding.
Okay.
And hopefully me, you, Tim will all be invited.
Oh my gosh, we're so fun at weddings. Jane, invite us.
We both don't care about all the circumstance around marriage. He is much less in a rush than I am. Starting in the past that I think she meant stating in the past that when I'm ready to let him know and we'll do it. I'm also not rushing, but it is in the back of my mind as something I want fairly soon. I've recently been thinking that it might be fun for me to propose to him.
Jane!
But the little girl in me worries she'll miss out on the cutesy traditional proposal she always wanted. Should I propose to my boyfriend and break all those pesky traditional gender norms, or should I let my inner Disney princess shine and wait until he pops the question? With love, Jane.
Don't you just think Jane's the best?
No, I mean, until I get that wedding invite, I'm withholding.
Well, it's less conditional for me. I feel like, well, what's your first blush info on this, Tom? What do you think she should do? I have a lot of thoughts. Believe it or not.
Yeah. All right. Let's hear your thoughts then, because I don't have a huge amount of thoughts.
Yeah, and I don't know if we have this in common. I don't want to assume, but for me, I am not a married person, and I think that a lot of the pomp and
know that I'm not married, right?
Well, that's not the part I meant. Whether or not we have it in common.
You don't have to pretend like you don't know any personal details.
I don't know for sure
about
your
me.
marital status.
You just spent an hour talking to my girlfriend.
Yeah, and I didn't know if that's like a side thing.
Yeah, she doesn't know that I'm married either.
Secret family.
Yeah, so please keep it to yourself.
Wouldn't that be a real surprise? I just don't think, I think if it matters to you, it matters to you. But there's a lot of pomp and circumstance around proposals.
Right.
And weddings. And that's great.
Yeah.
It's great to celebrate love. What it sounds like to me is that these two people are pretty sure about each other. And Jane loves her boo in the parlance of our time. And she
I don't
feels
think that's
sure.
the parlance of our time anymore, but sure.
Yeah, the parlance of 2008.
Now, Boo has become Bae.
That's true. But I think Bae is also
think
falling
that's
out of
also-
fashion.
What are you talking about? I heard that 10 years ago for the first time.
You heard sitting on the
You know,
dock
I
of the
rolled
Bae, your
down
favorite
all
song.
these windows.
It's so noisy.
And now there's like a fire outside. This always happens. Also, I didn't roll them down. We're not in my car.
At a drive-thru at Wendy's with the windows rolled down. The sirens are
we're parked in an empty lot.
and it's on near
yeah.
a building we set on fire. Imagine
Yes.
if we were arsonists doing this from a car and waiting for
It was like the podcast isn't getting enough attention. Start a fire.
a smoke-free, fume-free.
I would say that I agree with that. That I think proposals are a very personal type thing.
Yeah.
So the example that I would give is oh boy, I hate a big fan when people do a flash mob or whatever.
Yeah, that's so weird, honestly. No offense.
But
anyone
if
listening to
that's
that.
if that's your partner's thing,
Yes.
then great.
Yes.
But I think a lot of times it's not the person's partner's thing.
Yeah,
it's that
their
person's thing.
Yes. Yep.
And I would extend that advice to everything.
Yeah.
So I think, you know your boyfriend better than us.
Yeah, Jane.
If you think he'd be into that, if he's all about, flipping the bird to gender norms and stuff, then yeah, why not?
And if you think you want to be married to this person, I don't think there's any reason not to say, I want to marry you. And I'm going to do a special little thing to ask you to marry me.
Yeah.
What do you think Jane's boyfriend is called?
Tarzan.
Flop. Flop feels mean, but I just was thinking
No, Tarzan. Jane and Tarzan.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I get it. I think if Jane is feeling like, I kind of want to make a grand gesture to Tarzan.
Yeah. Well, but what about this? Tarzan has said, when you want to get married, just tell me. Tell me when you're ready, and then I'll...
Well, I think my question back to Jane, and unfortunately she's not on the call. She's not here at this Arby's with us. Arby's. Wendy's?
I wish.
Arson.
Because here's the problem. What if Tarzan, he's got some big plan in his head, a way to
what's
propose.
the worst that can happen? Have you ever seen that viral video where those two girls are surprising each other with a proposal at the same time, and it's the sweetest dang thing you've ever seen because they both had the same idea? So first of all, don't expect that, Jane. Right. But if you sure you're the one, and you're sure he's the one, and it doesn't really. I think you're onto something, Tom. I think she's got 2 to 5 options, and I'm going to list them all.
It's only an hour-long podcast. We have other problems to solve.
And this isn't a problem, even.
No. I mean, and she was upfront about that.
I think my 2 modes of thought here are, Jane, you could say to Tarzan, I'm thinking seriously about what we talked about, and I do want us to get married. What do you think? And then that's a nudge he needs, and maybe he does a flash mob if that's what you're into, Jane.
Right.
Or it's a conversation, and nobody even necessarily has to do a big grand gesture, but here we are, and now like.
Well, but I think she wants a grand gesture on somebody's end. I think.
Well, I think if what's holding her back is the Disney princess, shouldn't he propose to me, or the story you'll tell other people. You always get to decide what you tell other people.
Right, but you don't want to lie. You don't want to make your whole life a lie.
No, but if she says if she decides I want to do a big proposal to my sweetheart,
right,
and then does that, that's also a great story. And like honestly. You know, they got the house. She's got the Tarzan.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you want to marry him. Tell him.
Yeah.
Tell him on one knee, and maybe with like a chorus of, what do you think? Barbershop quartet? Singing Telegram?
College a cappella group.
Yeah, I think, singing like that,
White Wedding. Maybe?
Yeah, that'd be a nice one.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, but the little girl in me worries she'll miss out. I mean, I guess it depends on how big that little girl is.
I think you mean in terms of proportion and her. And it depends on what you've dreamed of. If you want to get swept off your feet, make sure he knows that. If you want to marry this person, focus on what's going to make that feel special to you and to him. Sweep him off his feet, gals.
All right. Problem solved. Thanks, Jane.
Jane, let us know how it goes.
Yeah. And with some all expenses paid trips to Punta Cana.
Yeah. And I'm going to need an oceanfront view.
Yes.
And I think like Mai Tais.
Right. And make sure the tickets are refundable in case we want to go at different times.
Jane, I'll be there.
All right. This next one, I'm also not. Give me a man's name.
Barney.
All right. Barney. Christine and Tom, the holidays are coming up, which means it's time to pick out gifts.
Oh, boy.
My wife and I usually get each other 1 to 2 small things, and it's always a struggle for me to pick out what to get her.
Oh, I love this one already, Barney.
She is the master of gift giving, but I can only narrow it down to a category, and then I am unable to choose a specific thing because I want her to pick it out so she actually gets what she wants. For example, if I know she wants more indoor pots for her plants, when I go to look, there are too many designs that to choose from. I would prefer her to pick it out so she actually likes them, but we share the same money, so at that point she might as well just be getting it for herself. So I know when I ask her, it doesn't feel as thoughtful. So my question is, would you prefer to get something you want, but not exactly the thing you would pick and be surprised, or not be surprised and be asked what you want from a narrowed down list? Another option I have thought of is just to look at her phone when she is busy doing something else.
That's a whole other thing, Barney.
And scroll through her Instagram ads since they seem to know her so well. We swap phones all the time. This wouldn't be an invasion of her privacy.
Thanks for saying so, Barney.
They have an open marriage.
They have an open relationship.
They swap phones. Side comment, when Tim comes back, it would be interesting to have him and his wife on if she is comfortable with that.
Yes.
To hear about how everything is going.
Yes.
Congrats to them, and great job to everyone on the recent episodes.
Oh, this is a love fest.
It really is.
It's a real bounty. I want to say, when I'm hearing in Barney's question, and I tend to see things with rose-colored glasses, sunny side up, etc. But don't you just feel like Barney loves his wife so much? Is that too dorky to say?
Maybe Barney's got, a family in every town.
Okay, maybe Barney's a real
maybe he's a
crap.
Traveling salesman. He's on the road an awful lot.
I think you're like, I know she loves beautiful pots for her plants, but I can't decide which one is beautiful enough for her. The most beautiful potted plant of all.
Yeah.
I mean, I
don't know if it's nice to call your wife a potted plant, even if you do say she's beautiful.
Yeah, that was the part. Because I'm nervous I'm too sincere on this thing.
I also think, maybe we're focusing too much on this specific example, but how many pot designs are there?
There are a lot. Have you ever been to Crest Hardware in Williamsburg, Brooklyn?
No, I've been.
Can we get their sponsorship?
I've been to other plant stores, and I don't know. Like there's different pots, but like, I don't know. I feel like this is the type of thing where you could ask your wife, like, what style do you like? But then you can pick.
Well, I think he could also potentially kind of like do a little this or this. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be potted plant.
You did something with your thumb.
Yeah, you can't see me, everybody. Do you like a glossy, bright colored ceramic mug maybe? I'm thinking of getting this for my sister. Help me out. Do you like the glossy one or do you like the terracotta one?
If you say
but
for
then
your
she
sister,
thinks
then
of
she's
your
gonna
sister.
be like, well, based on what she likes.
But also look at the pots she
and
already
what
has
if he
for her
doesn't even
plants.
have a sister? And then she's like,
you have a sister, and then it becomes a whole thing.
And then that's what else are you not telling me?
And maybe they go on Maury Povich.
Yeah, what else are you not telling me? Why are you on the road 300 days out of the year?
You really think he's a traveling salesman? Is Maury Povich still on?
That's a good question.
We don't know. We think maybe.
Yeah, maybe, but also maybe not.
It could go either
way. If Maury Povich isn't still on, there's certainly something that's taken its place.
Exactly. Google it if you don't know.
Well, I mean, we don't know, so.
I think I have a clear answer to this one.
Mm-hmm.
Buy the one that makes you think of her, right?
Yeah.
Because for me, so I'm a person who I love the act of small gift giving. I think it's a really lovely.
That's interesting. I've never gotten a small gift from you.
I said, I said it wrong. I love to receive small gifts.
Oh, I see.
But I think, hey, this made me think of you. It's such a delightful little gesture.
Yeah.
And if it's not what she would have picked out for herself, that's kind of the point. She can go pick out one for herself.
Yeah. I would say that I'd rather be surprised than get exactly what I want. I mean, I guess it's different if you're talking about like, I live in a car commercial and I'm going to, get a car with a bow on it on Christmas morning.
Right.
Then it's like, okay, well, this is something I'm going to be like using every day.
Or my new luxury coat.
Yeah.
You want to be able to make sure it fits.
Right. But if it's smaller items, then I think you've got to. Then it's especially not a like.
The stakes are a little bit lower, and it's just sweet. It gets to just be sweet.
Yeah, and when it's something that's perhaps unexpected, then it's nice. Where it is different if somebody's like. My coat, to use your example, my coat's worn out. I need a new coat.
Right, that's practical.
Yeah, and then they're going to be wearing it every day, so you want to make sure that you get something right. You don't want to replace their navy blue petticoat with bright neon green windbreaker.
Yeah, those are really different coats.
But you gotta be like, you said you want a coat.
Did you get them at Petticoat Junction?
I thought this looked cool.
I love this coat.
Yeah. I had a lot of windbreakers when I was Are
windbreakers even still available? I had a lot of windbreakers too. I had one that you had to pull over your head. The zipper didn't go all the way down. Okay. I loved that thing. Teal and white. But
I also feel like, did windbreakers really do anything?
No. I mean,
they broke the wind.
They broke the wind a little.
Well, guess what? So had I.
He keeps asking me to pull his finger.
Yeah, they just. I mean, I liked wearing them when I was 12 because you could get them in neon colors.
Yeah.
But I don't know if and also you're at that age where you're being told, put a coat on.
You got to put on a coat and it's like, this is a good compromise.
Right.
For parents
but
and
they
kids.
don't really do anything.
No, they barely do anything. I guess if you put it over like a t-shirt, it helps to insulate you a little bit. As opposed
to what?
Once I was in my windbreaker, in my pullover windbreaker.
Not having anything underneath at all?
And I didn't know, and as an extra layer. It was pretty cold, and I wasn't warm enough in my windbreaker.
Yeah.
And I tucked my arms into the torso of the jacket. I took my arms out of the sleeves. Very dangerous. Well, and little did I know, but of course, guess what happened? I tripped over the sidewalk and smashed my face. I was very little. And I couldn't catch myself on these hands.
Well, the hands were in the windbreaker.
Yep.
All right.
Big
so
mistake.
let that be a cautionary tale to everybody out there.
And Barney in particular, I think the answer is don't tuck your arms inside the trunk of your coat. Live large. And it's a small thing. And if she doesn't love it aesthetically, she's probably going to be like,
probably not for you.
This is cool. It made you think of me. Or she'll be like, boy, he doesn't understand me at all. No pressure.
Yeah.
But then she'll just put it, in the bathroom? with her plant in the bathroom. Are you going to put a plant in it, Barney?
Well, he was using this as just like a broad example. I think
if somebody that loved me very much and that I loved very much said, I'm going to take you to Home Depot and you can pick out a pot for your plants, I'd be like, no, thank you.
Yeah, I don't want to
That'd be nothing I'd ever want to do specifically. I'd be like, yeah, I do love pots for my plants.
Have you ever been to Home Depot and not been completely overwhelmed?
Never, once ever. I've only ever been very overwhelmed there. Everything's too big.
It's too big, and things are organized in a way that doesn't 100% make sense.
I think it only makes sense if you do a lot of like electrical work, maybe.
All right. I just know, like, I was there a year ago because we painted the apartment. So I had to like get a lot of paint and stuff. And I was just like, how come all the paint stuff's not in one place?
It's not? I thought it was all in the middle.
It's like kind of all in the middle. It was all in the middle, but it was like...
It wasn't all together.
Some brushes were in one aisle and some brushes were in a different aisle. Put all the brushes in one aisle.
Put all the brushes in one aisle. That makes no sense.
Probably the people making paint, they're like, we want all the paint to be in the front of the aisles.
You think it's like the
big paint.
Big paint.
Yeah. And then they tell you, and don't drink the paint, but you can have a little sip.
Some of it's so appetizing.
Exactly. Some of these colors, they're begging you to
it's like, is that sherbet?
Try drinking some of the paint.
Is it pronounced sherbet?
I think it should. I think that's technically right, but I say sherbet.
Yeah.
Because that just sounds better.
It does sound better, but does it have a second R?
They should change it to sherbet.
Does it even have a second R? I don't think it's sherbet.
And then sorbet.
It's like, why are there all these frozen, complicated words?
Come up with something easier
call it
for
ice.
us all to follow.
Just call it milky ice or regular ice.
Call it all ice cream.
Sweet ice.
I give a shit.
See if I don't care.
All right, Christine, how you feeling so far solving these problems? Is it too much?
No.
Are you overwhelmed with other people's?
I'm overwhelmed with feeling.
Wow.
Everyone's just trying to show love for their partners. Is this the Valentine's Day episode?
All right. This one again. Give me a woman's name.
Lucinda.
Okay. This is from Lucinda. Hi, Tom, Christine, and Ginger.
Oh, hi, Ginger.
I'm hoping you can help me out with a work problem.
Mm-hmm. Oh, great. I mean that sincerely, although it sounded sarcastic. Lucinda, we got you.
Oh, great.
I'm off the clock.
I manage about 25 people in an academic setting.
Good for you.
And one of the folks I supervise seems to get on everyone's nerves. She isn't doing anything wrong, but she annoys everybody. Because I'm the manager, people complain to me about how annoying she is, as if I should address it. Some things, like her frequent complaining without offering any ideas for a solution and running ineffective meetings, I can manage. The complaints I get are that she says, too much.
Uh-oh.
And that this should be addressed due to her teaching role.
Oh, boy.
She sounds whiny and that she ends sentences with an upturn. I have observed her teaching and think she does a good job. And I frankly feel like the complaints I get about her are mostly just sexist, even though they're coming from other women.
Yep, that's what
yes,
Lucinda gets it.
Yes, there are some ways in which she is just annoying, but so what? Any advice you have on how to handle the employee herself or those complaining about her would be appreciated. Thanks. Please don't use my name. P.S. Can you tell people like to complain a lot here? Yeah, it's awesome. I suppose that means at her job, not at our podcast.
Well, both.
It's true.
But people like to complain.
Nobody
everywhere.
ever writes in with a question like, solve my problem. Should I get a Ferrari or a Lamborghini?
I really liked Lucinda's question because I was formulating how I was going to say, well, what you're dealing with here is a bunch of sexists. And then she already knows. I think you should be the first one to answer this question.
Should she cancel them? Should she get them canceled?
Who, the complainers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put them on blast.
She could cancel 24 of her direct reports.
Well, she didn't say they all complain. I'm sure some of them.
25 is a lot of people to manage. So, Lucinda,
I've managed
I bet she's
more
tired.
than that.
I haven't.
Actually, I don't know if I have.
25 is a lot of
I've
people.
managed around that number of people, I think.
My most, I think, was 8.
Wow.
And that was
Surprised they
early,
let you
early
manage.
in my career.
They let you manage 8 people, huh?
It worked out okay. sort of.
Yeah, I mean, that is an annoying thing about like being a manager when people come and complain about things where it's like that has really nothing to do with like work or specifically your job,
Yeah.
like mind your own business.
Right. Why is it bothering you so much?
Yeah. And these examples of the saying and whiny and end sentences with an upturn, especially if it's a teacher, then it's like, well, that's something for the students to complain about.
Yeah. What is the issue that other people are going to the manager to be like policing the way she talks? That really is infuriating.
Yeah.
What do you think she should do?
Yeah.
You've managed so many people. So
Yeah.
you probably have some good
Well,
ideas.
I'm
right?
also thinking like dealing with, worker employee complaints was also like my lead.
Of course.
That's
And
the
about
worst.
each other. Right.
Yeah.
Come on.
And that's the part of the job where, I mean, the probably real answer here is that she should tell these people like, oh, have you talked to her about this, about your concerns?
Well, but even that.
But that's,
that
it's
becomes
also
a
like,
whole
yeah,
other
you
can
don't
of worms.
necessarily be like, oh, have you gone and critiqued this woman's
Right.
teachings?
But it doesn't sound like the content Lucinda's saying. She's a
Yeah.
perfectly good teacher. She does a perfectly good job.
Right.
And these folks are just feeling like maybe that she's undermining her own credibility because she has these historically feminized, I'm using air quotes, everybody, these historically feminized ways of speaking.
Yeah.
Oh, look what I did. I said, because
Yeah.
that's a thing I do. And I still have credibility.
Well, I
everybody.
don't do it, so.
You've never said,
I've never
That's probably
said
true.
because I'm a strong, confident man who knows what he's going to say in any situation.
He's pausing so much more between each word so he doesn't
It's
accidentally
better than
say,
saying
I don't think so. See what I did?
I don't think so.
I mean, I think Lucinda should talk to these complainers and ask, like, what is it that bothers you so much about it?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's probably the actual right answer.
What was the complaint they had that she said she can manage? Sorry.
Oh,
He's doing it, everybody.
I can't find it.
I
now.
already can't remember because of things that are going on in my brain. that are unrelated
Complain to
this
me
question.
about how annoying she is. Some things like her frequent complaining without offering any ideas for a
to
solution,
keep it above the line,
or
how's-
running
yeah.
ineffective meetings I can manage.
Yes. So she's got that. She doesn't need us for that, but she wants to talk about how to deal with, I think, like at maximum, anything that Lucinda says to this person is like about those actual issues of like, don't bring a question forward without a solution. And
Yeah.
also we've heard some feedback, if anything, right? We've heard some feedback that you're annoying. You can't tell
that
someone
you're
they're annoying. I hate to say it, but you're annoying.
I mean, that's also, every workplace has annoying people, and there's kind of only so much you can do about it.
I also kind of wonder what vicinity they're in to one another, that it's bothering other people enough to
Yeah, if they're
talk to their
teachers,
manager about
that's
it.
kind of weird.
Lucinda, you know what I think you should do is be like, policing people's ways of speaking isn't actually part of my job, and I'm very busy. You don't seem busy enough that you care
Yeah.
so much about the way this person is speaking. Why don't you do a whole bunch of my tasks? Yep, that's my advice. Delegate more tasks to these whiners. And one of the
Teach them a
tasks,
lesson.
you know what? One of the tasks should be read articles about vocal fry and up-talking and ums and pauses and the way that speech is sometimes evolving.
Yeah.
And it doesn't actually undermine the credibility of anybody. Sorry if I use that phrase, but that's the thing. It doesn't actually undermine the credibility. I'm undermining my own credibility by slurring my words. But the content of her teaching is what actually matters. Are the students listening? Are the students learning? If that's all good, then these folks need to mind their own freaking beeswax.
So you're saying punish them by making them read all these insufferable articles.
If you think teaching, oh boy, I gotta go. If you think teaching folks about different ways of perceiving, and also probably, I don't think this is Lucinda's job, but there's got to be a way to make sure that these jerks know that what they're probably doing is thinking about things they've suppressed in their own vocal tics and whatever to fit in or to sound more professional. And again, I'm using a lot of air quotes here, folks. And that they resent she hasn't done that and is still succeeding. So maybe go see a therapist, 24 other people.
My advice would be clean house.
Fire them all.
Start over.
Well, that's
Get
sort of
rid
like
of
canceling
everyone?
them. Get rid of everyone except the...
Yeah. Well, and tell them you've all been canceled. You'll never work again.
I wonder if they use chalk.
The teachers?
Yeah.
Maybe.
She doesn't say.
I don't think people use chalk nowadays. It's all
Anywhere?
Either whiteboards or like fancy smart boards. Or
laptops?
holograms. Who knows what
What
they've
about
got
overhead
nowadays.
projectors? Remember those? And when you would smell the like light burning if they used the
Yeah.
wrong markers.
I don't think they use overhead projectors nowadays.
What about a mimeograph machine?
Jesus Christ. I like barely remember
I'm
those.
100 years old. There
Yeah.
was one in the room where we wrote an extracurricular murder mystery play in 5th grade, but it was like an unused room in my school.
I feel like I remember as a kid in school, sometimes it was like the copy machine's not working, so I had to use like the It was like, what the hell is this?
What the hell is this? It's such a
like
relic.
very faint copy.
It felt so fragile. I think I had a math teacher in middle school too who like had a stack of
What were
mimeograph
they? How do they
tests.
work?
It's like carbon. I think it's like a carbon
okay.
copy that you like
Yeah.
actually churn,
Yeah, so like
butter.
Yeah. Well, same thing with those like the credit card.
Those credit card machines.
Yeah.
My first job, we used one of those. It was
Oh,
a very
really?
old-fashioned place that didn't have like one.
When I
It doesn't
worked at the Apple Store now over a decade ago, there were times where the computers would go down. We'd have to use
At
those.
the Apple Store, weren't you there to fix that?
Holy
Couldn't you
shit!
Fix that?
It was like,
Bedlam.
yeah, it was. If the computers went down, there was just like no backup, and you
had to use
immediately
it.
had to revert to 1950s credit card technology.
And you have to just go on faith because if somebody's card is declined, you don't know that till later.
we had like a phone number that we could call.
I went to
And make sure that it was making sure the money was there, I think, but it didn't necessarily,
didn't charge it.
but we had that copy. So
To run
that's-
later.
Because I remember that because there were also times where those copies were lost and somebody disputed the charge and it was like, oh, well, we have literally
There's
no
nothing
evidence
to track back to. Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
So that person just got a free MacBook Pro.
That's a pretty good scam. You
Yeah.
cut the wire to the internet. Is that how it works? And then you go in with a dummy credit card and then you get your...
I mean, back during this time, it was like 10 years ago, you just had to wait until the store was too busy and then everything would go down. It was awful.
Oh, no, that's a bandwidth issue.
Yeah.
I had not that happen, but I'm reminded of when I went to the Jamestown Flood Museum. Is that what it's called?
Who knows?
I don't think it's Jamestown, but maybe I'll remember later, in Pennsylvania. And I went with my brother and he was kind of in a rush and I was like, we got to go to this flood museum. And it was the most old timey and wonderful museum. Don't worry, he keeps looking at his watch, but I'm not going to take that long to tell this story, which is like
I mean, we've only got so much time for flood museum conversations.
Well, that's what
on
my
the
brother
show.
was thinking too, because he's like, let's get back on the road. But I was like, no, we got to see this flood museum. And by the way, it's fantastic. But they didn't have the technology. So when I wanted to pay for our $11 entry fee or whatever with my credit card, they're like, okay, well, we'll just have to call the credit card company and verify the charges. And it took like 8 minutes just to get us to have the entry fee paid. And, I think it bought some of, it ate up some of the time that I could have spent poring over the dioramas and the photographs and the relics of things left behind in the flood.
Well, luckily it seems like you've gotten past all that.
Johnstown? What the hell was that town
Johnstown.
called?
No, it's Jamestown.
It's Jamestown?
I don't
I'm thinking
know.
of Jonestown, but that's a whole different tragedy.
Yeah.
So, Lucinda, I think what you should do is just sort of turn it back on. Why does this bother you so much?
Yeah.
Everybody else.
We had already
Dust
solved
the chalk
problem,
off
I
your
thought.
petticoats.
We were moving on. We were just talking about credit card
We're just talking about
machines.
floods.
Yeah. Oh, what was I going to say? I had another...
The Johnstown flood. Jamestown flood?
I had another tip about credit cards, but I can't remember what it is.
It'll come back to you. Do you
Yeah.
think, was it about points? If anybody wants to get a referral code from me so that we
No,
all get more
that's
points
not
on
what
our
the-
credit
That's not
card.
how the show works.
I'm
You don't
nuts
just
about points.
put out your... We have actual advertisers. You can't just give out referral codes for your
I'm
credit
not
cards.
giving it out. I'm saying contact me
Uh-huh.
at the old pharmacy I used to work at. It closed.
No, what the hell was I was going to say?
What the hell's
Something
the name
about
of this
credit
town with
cards.
the
Ooh,
flood?
all right, it doesn't matter. Next question.
We're so tired.
Oh man, I this is the name, and the person wrote, "Don't worry about pronouncing my name wrong. It's probably fine." So I guess that means
Jimmy?
I can use it. I'm gonna say it's Waringa, Waringa,
Moringa.
Waringa, or Waringa,
Warren
or
G.
Waringa, or Waringa. Waringa, I'm gonna say.
Say it different every time. Johnstown. The Johnstown flood. Confirmed.
Call him
Call him Johnstown.
the big W.
Do we know the pronouns of this person?
We don't know the pronouns.
Okay.
Hi, I'm a huge fan of the podcast, and I've been really enjoying Christine as a host.
Thanks, friend.
My problem, and they put this in quotes, is this. I'm turning 30 in May,
You tiny little baby.
just a few days before graduating from grad school.
Congratulations.
I feel like I should do something to celebrate, maybe take a trip.
Yes.
But I have no idea, and I'm overwhelmed with choice.
Johnstown Flood Museum.
Jesus Christ.
Solved. It's so good.
Some additional context if you need it.
Yeah, probably.
I'm getting an MFA in fiction writing from UW-Madison.
Congratulations.
I have some money saved up, not
Hell yeah.
tons, but I could
Congratulations.
afford a nice trip. I'm going to LA in January to visit a friend for a few days, so probably not that.
Yeah.
Thanks for taking the time to read this, and please pass on my best wishes. Best wishes
So sorry for
to
laughing.
Tim, his wife, and their baby. Best
Yes.
Waringa. Don't worry about pronouncing my name wrong. It's probably fine.
We want to get your name right.
Yeah.
Waringa, but we're going to stick with Waringa because it's just what we think it might be.
Yeah.
First of all, congratulations for getting an MFA in fiction writing because stories are worth telling and we love art. Right,
Hey,
Tom?
speak for yourself. I like sports.
I like both. I contain multitudes, and I'm bragging about it. I don't know. So Wisconsin, no, don't stay in Wisconsin. Go somewhere a little more exciting.
Yeah.
Don't
Well,
go to
and
Los Angeles. You're going to Los Angeles.
it sounds
Tony.
like they've got enough money to leave Wisconsin.
What about going to the
But I don't-
location of Jane's wedding? For Jane's wedding, we'll all meet there. I
Oh,
forget
the
where her
other
wedding's
person.
going to be. Yeah.
In
Fujikana.
Mexico, I think, right?
Yeah. Maybe that.
Maybe that. Maybe Jane. Hopefully, you're still listening. You've got more invites to give out.
Jane, if you're still on the call, we're all going to be friends.
I mean, and keep in mind, all of us are going to need a guest. We're all going to need a plus one here.
Plus 3 for me, please. Just for fun.
Yeah, I don't know, because I've been thinking about taking like a vacation recently. I haven't had like an actual proper vacation since before the pandemic. I've gone on trips that are like fun.
Yeah.
Of course.
You've gone on road trips.
Yeah.
Should we suggest a road trip? The problem is we don't really know like how far this person wants to go or what
Right.
kind of fun they like to
Well,
have.
I mean, based on the fact that they're going to LA in January.
And there's a friend there.
Yeah, and they said, so don't suggest that.
So
It
let's
sounds like they're
wipe out
willing
the whole
to
West
at least
Coast,
go
like
as far
climate
as
change.
LA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe East Coast. Maybe. Do you have any place to recommend in Maryland? Don't go to Maryland.
Wow.
Too boring. Have I just alienated you?
All of our Maryland. Christine,
All your
Maryland
Marylanders.
is our number one state for listeners.
I don't believe that.
No, it's California.
Really?
It's just the biggest state.
Oh, yeah. It's the most populous state.
I believe so, right?
What about Alaska? Or do we think we need to stick to contiguous?
Alaska's the actual biggest state, right?
Yeah, but I mean,
Is that still true?
I mean, things are changing every day. We don't know.
Alaska sounds boring as hell. No offense to anybody listening in Alaska. They're probably listening to this episode 5 years later.
They get their news a lot later. What about
And the freighter, the little plane that drives lands in with all the podcasts from the past 6 months.
all the tapes and their mimeograph
Actually, like
labels?
I kind of know somebody that lives in Alaska, and like they spend like an absurd amount of money on internet. They have like
right, 'cause it's
3
so
different
remote.
internet providers that each of them they spend hundreds of dollars, and all that combined, they're like, I can maybe do a Zoom meeting, but it's gonna have some problems. And like I have a router that ties all these together.
Do you think Waringa wants to go on a writer's retreat? Because maybe not
they've
having
had
internet
too
would
much
be
writing. Maybe they've been writing like a bandit
I've
for the
got a great
last
idea.
2 years.
or 4 or 3.
Or
Prince Edward Island.
where is that? In Canada?
It's in Canada.
Yeah. Why there?
To do the Lucy Maud Montgomery tour. And
Jesus.
Anne
all
of Green
sound-
Gables, baby. Avonlea.
Ah, boy, go to the Flood Museum. That sounds
Actually,
like it's probably a
maybe
better
make it a
time.
2-stop tour. The Flood Museum is fantastic. Oh, what about what's your favorite historical reenactment site?
I don't
The
like
Flood
that.
Museum is not a
I
historical
don't like going to
reenactment site.
historical reenactment sites.
Some of them are great. Some of them are
Old Bethpage. That's where I had to go, a bunch of times as a kid.
field trip.
Yeah.
Old Sturbridge Village for me.
What is your favorite place to go to in the contiguous United States of America?
Me? Well, so I'm the kind of person that my favorite thing to travel for usually is to see friends and see like their favorite things about the place where they live. But one of the places I've been to
So
sort
you
of
like
recently
going to like
that I recommend.
Central Perk.
Yeah, and that
the,
one statue on Lafayette Street.
the couch outside the fountain.
Yeah. No one told me life was going to be this way, you know? I recommend actually Memphis. Have you been to Memphis?
No.
It's great.
Do you just walk
Graceland.
around
You've
listening
got-
to Walking in Memphis?
I mean, you can.
Yeah. And think this song's kind of about what I'm doing.
Yeah, and that song is a
I've
bop.
been walking in Memphis.
It's a beautiful
I've been
song.
walking in on my feet.
He's not nailing it.
Now, who sang that?
Mark
Bob Dylan?
Cohn.
Mark
A
Cohn.
man called Mark Cohn.
Huh. One hit wonder?
I think a one-hit wonder. He may have had like an album some people liked,
You might
but
be
we've
big
never
in
heard anything.
Memphis. Probably doesn't have to buy a
I bet
drink.
he's not even that big in Memphis, but yeah, maybe he never has to buy a drink.
He just
You ever
says,
been to?
hi, I'm Mark Cohn.
It's
And they're
like a tough
what?
name, and they're like
Who?
Cohen? No, Cone.
Cone.
Have you been to Graceland?
No. I
Whoa.
told you I haven't been to Memphis.
Oh, I didn't hear you. I was only
I
thinking
would
about how
like to
great.
go to Memphis. I'd like I haven't been to a lot of I'd like to go to
Nashville?
Yeah, Nashville.
New Orleans.
Yeah, I've never been to Nolans, despite my impeccable accent.
You say it cool.
I've been to.
Nolans.
I think the only cool southern place I've been to is Savannah. And I loved it.
Yeah.
I thought it was like the coolest place.
And that's actually a nice idea too. You're graduating, Waringa, and you probably want to go somewhere warm. Wisconsin's
Yeah.
getting cold right
yeah,
now.
and you're like, oh, go to Prince Edward's Island.
Yeah, because honestly,
Go to Alaska. What are you nuts?
I was
She's
warming
had
up
enough.
literally and figuratively. I think don't go to Florida,
Yeah.
but go somewhere a little warm and a little historical and a little culturally
Yeah.
rich.
Or go to Florida if you want to.
Why?
Disney World.
I guess you could go to Epcot and pretend you went to all those countries.
That's true.
It's a
Bring
little
back
more
the
bang for
pictures
your
and
buck.
be like, I went
Yeah.
on a little
This
bit of
is
a
me
whirlwind tour.
on a world tour around the world in 80 days, but I only went to these couple of countries, and don't mind the
remember-
fact that I'm wearing Mickey ears in all of the photos.
As a kid, I remember going to Japan in Epcot.
That was my
and,
favorite
And
as
just
a
having
kid.
such a great meal there. And I was like, wow. And I think it was just very salty, and I just liked that.
Yeah.
Geez, this is a long one. This is an essay.
I think we had some great travel ideas.
I need another woman's name.
Loretta.
Because this person said their name or whatever name. So I'm going to go with the or
we'll
whatever
keep it
name.
Nice and anonymized.
Hello, Tom and Christine. I really enjoyed the Kelsey Grammer episode and already listened to it twice while working my job at a botanical garden.
Wait, Loretta, I love botanical gardens.
I listen and re-listen to The Complete Guide more than any other podcast, and I'm wishing you all well this holiday season.
Even Tom?
And other parts of the year to a similar extent.
Wait, this is a great letter already.
I would love to. I'd love to hear your advice. I am a woman, soon to be 30.
Everybody is so young.
Everybody's soon to be 30.
Are these exennials?
Zennials, you mean?
Maybe I've never realized that those are the same word. I've seen it in print and I've heard it said out loud. Generation Z.
Exennials, I think, are between.
Existentialists. Is
Wait,
she
what?
an existentialist?
No,
I'm making a joke.
I think they're between millennials and Gen X.
No, we're the Oregon Trail generation. Anyway, go on with your question.
We're the Oregon Trail? That's not a thing.
That's a thing. Read
it's
about
not
it.
A thing.
Google it.
No, we're millennials, me and you.
Oh, yeah.
We're older millennials.
We're geriatric millennials.
But I'm saying if we were a little bit older, then we would be between Gen X and...
We are between Gen X.
No, we're not.
Yeah, we're the Oregon Trail generation.
Anyway. I'm a woman soon to be 30, living with my girlfriend who is newly 40. Ooh. She moved from her very tiny hometown in the deep south
Prince Edward Island
to live with me in a metropolitan area in North Carolina. Oh. Obviously, the scale of a big city here is not the same as New York.
New York City, baby. Did you hear those sirens earlier?
But it is dramatically different from what she is used to. Yeah. So, I mean, the difference here is she lives in a city and doesn't have fucking ambulances going by every 2 minutes. She always hated her small town and said it was her dream to move near a city. But after a few years living here, she is very disenchanted with what seems to be normal to me, i.e. traffic every day and being in a shouting distance of your neighbors. We are hoping to move from our current apartment to a house soon, and she has decided that she wants to be further outside the city, far away to be drastically decrease the population and traffic. She also only wants to look at houses with an acre of land or more.
Wow.
No modern neighborhoods like I grew up in. Like any other self-aware podcast listener, I'm not the most extroverted person, so of course I prefer not seeing my neighbors and feeling less stressed while driving, but I've never lived away from my family in the city I grew up in. Our apartment now, which is 20 minutes away from my old neighborhood, is the farthest I've lived outside of it. I'm not necessarily excited by the prospect of living in a small town without downtown offerings like experimental food, art, and theater, or being far enough away to only see my family on holidays instead of frequently checking on my dad who lives alone. I can see pros and cons of both, and I feel somewhat indebted to her because she already left her home to live close to me. However, buying a house is a bigger commitment than renting an apartment, and I don't think it's the best idea to take on a mortgage out of politeness.
I like Loretta.
Would you ever consider living in a small town?
No.
Do you think an hour or two drive to see family and friends would hurt your relationships?
No.
I know Tom spent some time in North Carolina, but where has Christine lived? Thanks for your opinions, and even if you don't answer this, thank you for making the show. I've listened for 6 years across 2 jobs. It's genuinely made my life better. Love you all in an appropriate way, Loretta.
Wait, I think we should do a meet and greet with everyone who wrote these letters.
All right, you're getting all...
I'm a little too big for my britches.
Yeah. She didn't say, and I'd love to meet Christine.
I know.
I'd love to fly across country.
I am cashing in on goodwill I did not earn. And I have a lot of feelings about this one, too.
Okay,
What are
let's hear
yours?
'em.
What are yours?
I mean, you should definitely talk about your thoughts with your significant other.
Yeah. Do we know her partner's name? Should we just
She
call
didn't say, but she has referred to her as my girlfriend.
Okay. Yeah, and I also think there's some measure of risk, and I don't get the impression that Loretta doesn't love and want to have a home with her girlfriend, but there's some measure of risk of taking on a mortgage.
Oh, absolutely.
In a partnership in general, not just necessarily if it's not a marriage. Marriage isn't the be-all, end-all, everybody. Jane, I want it for you. I know you both want it, but it's not the be all end all for everybody. She doesn't want to live in a small town. And I think a person could go crazy in a small town.
I was singing the song. I was born in a small town.
You're really singing tonight.
I don't want to live in a small town.
Not the words.
So I'm coming up with a sequel.
Maybe they should move to Allentown and then sing it, Tom.
Yeah, we're here in Allentown.
Nailed it. And then they're much closer to the Flood Museum.
You know, I got screwed up because I was trying to think of how to make the whistle sound.
That's the best part of that song by a lot. Are we helping solve this problem? That's a fart machine.
They worked at a whoopee cushion factory in Allentown. It actually had nothing to do with the steel industry.
They're closing all the whoopee cushion factories down.
I mean, definitely talk to your girlfriend about this.
For sure.
Because,
for sure. You want different things. But I think there's ability to compromise.
Yeah, 2 houses.
Yeah. Or, a medium-sized apartment in a slightly less crowded neighborhood.
Yeah, what do they call that? A paid-on tete or something?
Oh, Pierre de Terre or something?
Yeah, Pierre de Terre.
I think we've got it.
Something along those lines. I came across it recently, and I hadn't seen it in a long time. I was like, oh, yeah. That's a neat idea. Having
Pierre
a little...
de Terres for exennials. We could really get a trend going.
A little apartment that you use infrequently was the definition when I looked it up.
I don't know that that's what they're looking for, though, because to me it sounds like the girlfriend wants to be on an isolated plot of land where she can't see or hear anyone else.
Yeah, that's true.
And I don't think, Loretta, you owe anybody anything because she moved to be with you. She moved to be with you. That includes making sure that part of what you both get is a place you want to live.
Oh, yeah, because you can't say, well, I moved somewhere I didn't want to move to, so now you
we're both
have
unhappy.
to move. And now you have to move to somewhere you don't want to.
Yeah.
I do think there's a compromise here because you can... I
also think that.
You can live somewhere with an acre of land that still isn't too far from like a downtown type area.
Yes, exactly. And you can live, and I will also say, as someone who, she asked for more of my biography, which I'll share when I say this part of what I want to say.
Well, she asked where else you've lived, not.
I was born in. I could give a long biography. I think it's worth it.
We don't have time.
I'm very close with my family. I'm a little bit obsessed with them, but they live 4-ish hours from where I live here today with the ambulances. And the pandemic's been a little bit hard, but besides that, it's still easy enough. We figure it out. My brothers come here sometimes. I go up there sometimes. My parents come here sometimes. I don't know who she means when she says her family, but I'm describing my own family, of course. And sometimes we meet in the middle. And I have friends where I'm from, too, which is Massachusetts. And many of them have moved away. But New England, this is too boring to say, I think. The point is, you figure it out. Yeah. And relationships happen and sustain, even if you don't see them as often as you're used to. However, if that is like a big piece of moving further away, like I wouldn't necessarily want to live a flight away from my family if I didn't have a compelling reason to do so. And what I'm hearing from Loretta, which is a job she loves, or perhaps I'm projecting because of how I feel about botanical gardens, which they're so beautiful.
Yeah.
I have a membership to the Brooklyn
We don't know
Garden.
about this one Loretta works at. Maybe it's a real...
It's in North Carolina. I bet it's like very...
Maybe they forget to water all the plants a lot.
Loretta, is it your job to water the plants and you forgot because you're puzzling over this problem? Don't forget to water the plants.
I will say I currently live about depending on traffic, an hour to 2 hours from my immediate family. Yeah, and my extended family actually, and it's fine.
Yeah,
like
you see your family pretty often.
Yeah, and like I'm able to.
Yeah,
I think that's like the big thing that you. That I can go see them without needing like a huge amount of planning or having to buy a ticket or anything like that.
Right. Yeah.
So it sounds like I could definitely see you can manage that part, I think, fairly well. It's more of do you want to live in a place with art and food
Restaurants and culture and other people, even if you're not friends with your neighbors.
The word I was looking for.
Although it is nice to be friends with your neighbors, it's also nice to sort of pretend you don't see them. What about renting a whole house? Why can't they rent a whole house on an acre property that's just outside the city? You don't have to buy just because it's a house.
Right.
I know a gal that lives upstate in an absolutely haunted house with all these like bears and cats that live on the property. I don't recommend that. But they rent.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you can rent a haunted house?
That's a good point. I would
rent a haunted house.
Well,
that's a good point. I think that's right.
That if this is like a big change, then maybe renting at first is the way, rent for a year or two to see.
And Loretta, if you hate it, she doesn't want that for you. We don't want that for you.
Yes. I think a compromise could be found here.
I think so too. And keep up the good work, but you got to remember to water the plants.
Last one here. I need a man's name. A masculine name.
Hank.
All right, Hank. Hey, Tom and Christine.
Hey.
Thanks for the show and keeping us entertained. Mm-hmm. At work, we have a culture of doing group activities during break time. We work in an environment that suits this. Our offices are in an airplane hangar.
Oh.
And we operate planes in an air ambulance type of operation.
What?
This means we have pilots and maintenance guys hanging out, enjoying good camaraderie at work and during break times. Most guys like having a game of chess or similar type of board games. Others play ping pong or, believe it or not, cornhole. This is all great, but here comes the problem. I enjoy hanging out and I generally enjoy games, but some guys just get too into it and become overly competitive. Oh. As such, I prefer to use my break time to relax and chat. Recently, however, I asked too many questions about a new board game that was being played, and they mistook it for extreme interest.
Oh, no, Hank.
Now I get invited to play and also get coached on it during breaks when I would rather just be standing around doing nothing. Uh-huh. How do I break it to them that I am not that into the games? It goes without saying that telling them this straight is way too simple and I need something more elaborate and complex. Excited to hear your ideas. Other info if you need it. This is in Africa. Lesotho. Lesotho. That's
whenever you spell anything, I think of all the other letters, to be honest.
If that's a country, that's a very tiny country. Because I feel like I've seen this before, but not.
I'm Googling.
Not enough to know it off the top of my head.
They should. He should say he's unavailable because he's researching the Johnstown Flood Museum. That's my first idea. Go on.
By competitive, I mean that some guys shout at the top of their lungs when they score a point in ping pong and have invested money in professional ping pong gear and even National Cornhole Association competition weight cornhole bags. Thanks. What did we say this guy's name is? Hank?
Hank.
Thanks, Hanks. Thanks.
It's Tom Hanks. Or Colin.
Thanks, Hanks. It's Chet. It's Chet
Oh,
Hayes.
Shoot.
Yeah,
He's
unfortunately.
so much different in print.
Hank.
I
mean, I would say, he's talking about the guys being real into it. But then the example he gives, investing in professional ping pong gear and National Cornhole Association competition weight cornhole bags. How much could these possibly cost?
Well, I don't think it's so interesting that you're talking about barrier to entry is not. It's enthusiasm to me, not necessarily cost.
Oh, but I'm just saying, like, of sports to get really into and buy like official gear.
Yeah,
I feel like cornhole bags and ping pong paddles. That's a much cheaper hobby than, certainly something like golf. But even like basketball, you can buy like very expensive shoes and gear. And
yeah, but they might be buying like very luxurious cornhole pouches. Are they called pouches?
No.
Beanbags.
Bags.
Yeah.
How much could they possibly cost? Especially because you need
$40,
a few, right? 40 each?
Maybe. If they're really nice. They're made with the finest of
How much
silks.
do you think the nicest ping pong paddle costs?
$40. $40 is a lot of money.
I'll give my advice first.
Okay.
This is what I would do.
Yeah.
Just pretend you have a phone call to make.
All the time?
All the time.
They're in there all the time in that hangar.
But he's specifically talking about breaks.
Yeah, but it's breaks. You get at least one break a day.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if it's an air ambulance type
planes?
of... Yeah,
it
there
like
might
a
be a
firehouse.
lot
Is it like a firehouse, Hank?
That's kind of what I'm thinking. So there actually
downtime.
might be a lot of downtime.
And you can't just always be like, I have an urgent phone call hour after hour after hour.
It is tough. I definitely get the... like seeing somebody play a complicated board game. Like I'm guessing it's like a...
yeah, I was going to ask you to guess what game it is.
What's the big game everybody likes?
That one with the discs, and you like get grains.
Yeah, yeah, everybody knows the game we're talking about. But yeah, there are some like complicated board
code names. But if it's code names, I bet he'd like it. It's so fun, code names.
I'm thinking this is more like a strategy.
Yeah, or like Risk.
Yeah, this is like a borderline role playing game. I'm imagining.
Yes, or like Ticket to Ride. Tom's falling asleep, everybody.
Well, I'm saying the
a game with complicated rules.
A strategy game.
Yeah,
like
strategy
those
game.
are complicated
games.
You
want to understand how it works. Yeah.
So I totally get if you're asking questions, then people are going to take that as interest.
Yeah. Yeah. Hank kind of painted himself into a corner by being curious.
Yeah.
But don't stop being curious, Hank. I think you got to pretend. Oh, maybe you pretend you have arthritis in your fingers, so you can't play with the cards
other people
and
can
the discs.
move the parts for you.
They don't want to. This place is brimming. Are you okay?
I yawn sometimes when I've talked a lot. I'm not tired, just my jaw's tired.
Oh, okay. It's been...
Christine, it's unprofessional to keep bringing it up.
Well, it seems like you're going through something over there. But wait, I want to say this, which is that it seems to me like this hangar is filled with a lot of like kind of like weird, trapped macho energy.
Yeah.
That's like kind of being misdirected. So my advice to
Right,
Hank is
like
to
cornhole and ping pong aren't very
and how competitive they are about it.
Yeah,
my whole point isn't even about what games they're playing. Although I was surprised he led with chess. That wasn't what I was expecting. right. When I was like, oh, this is a place where everybody's being beefy and like
beefy.
Yeah, I kind of pictured everybody being beefy and giving each other a hard time. And it sounds like participation is like implicitly mandatory, right? So maybe it's a sort of coercive vibe.
Yeah, I think it's mostly just that it sounds like there's just like
bored.
a lot of downtime. So
Yeah.
it's like, what about this?
Get into embroidery.
Well,
Is that what you're going to say? Then you have all these nice samplers you can put around the hangar.
I was going to say...
home is where the heart is.
Why would I say that?
No, I'm still talking about my idea.
I was going to say, it sounds like he needs his own thing to be doing during these break times. And then he can say like, well, no, I don't want to play that because I'm into this.
Weaving, textile arts.
I mean, it could be anything. It could be something that he could do with other people.
Well, and it could be a large scale thing because A, airplane hangars are huge. We've all seen wings. B,
could be skydiving.
Oh my gosh, they should do that thing where you blow air and you float.
I have a gift certificate to do that. and I got it last year for Christmas.
Do you think you can do that if you have glasses?
No.
I've always wondered that.
No,
then I can't do it.
Blow the glasses off.
I think you put on goggles or a mask. Or
yeah,
something,
I mean,
right?
you could probably put goggles. Yeah, I think you do put goggles. So maybe they have goggles that can go over the glasses. Yeah, they probably can.
So Hank, try that.
Work that out.
They have a ping pong table, so I think you could do like a large scale project.
Like what?
Tapestry, weaving, textile arts.
All right.
And then you get to like have blankets. I think you're trying to end this, but I'm not done.
If you like the show, you can find out more at tcgt.com. You can follow us on Twitter at Complete Guide. Follow us on Instagram at TCGTE. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Tom Reynolds.
Hot dog burger.
You can follow Christine at Hot Dog Burger. Maybe she'll allow you to follow her or not. You're not in the biz, Christine.
I'm not in the biz. I'm adjacent.
Well, how are you ever going to become an influencer?
Shoot, good point. I'll accept everybody. The mailing address?
Patreon.
Oh,
yeah, the mailing address. We have a new P.O. box. I'm not 100% sure on what the address is. I think this will work. 950 Fulton Street, Brooklyn, New York, 11238. And then the number is 110.
110.
Yeah, just
no
put
letters?
110. No, 380110. Maybe put all those numbers on, but it sounded, the lady said you just needed 110, but then she was also telling me how to forward all my mail to this P.O. box. I was like, no, I don't want all my mail forwarded to this P.O. box. I just want a P.O. box.
There's a Brooklyn zip code that starts with a 3.
I said 11238. Oh, no, that's the box number, 380110.
I think you've got to say it again.
950 Fulton Street.
Fulton Street.
Brooklyn, New York, zip code 11238, and then P.O. box number 380110.
I think if we
or
play
you
back
could just
the tape,
put 0.
you left out a lot of the numbers.
I'll put it all on tcgt.com, maybe.
Sounds good.
Um,
Send us postcards from your trip, Moringa.
Yeah.
Sorry, I said
Or-
Oh, I'm really
or-
combining the
yeah.
things.
Or
Moringa,
expensive
question mark?
gifts.
Yes. For Tim and Tim's baby, really.
Yeah.
We don't. we want some pots for our plants.
That was for his wife or
I know,
his
but I
girlfriend
would like
or
a nice
something.
one too that made him think of me.
When I got this, I just got this P.O. box today.
Ooh.
And the lady, took me over to show me, and she opened it up, and she was like, "Oh, there's mail in there from the last person." I was like, who's got the keys? That's my mail."
Do you think that person's deceased?
Yeah, it's like all junk mail. I don't know.
Yeah, they still might be deceased.
They might be deceased. I should have asked. Do you think this person's dead? But yeah, send us mail. We used to have a P.O. box in the city, but then neither of us have been going to the city lately. By the city I mean Manhattan. So let that lapse, and now we've got this.
You should forward that mail to this box.
It might be too late for that.
I don't. Nah. I don't think it is.
Any last overarching advice for humanity?
Ooh, no pressure. I mean, I think the themes we can kind of highlight from tonight are follow your heart. Don't be afraid to speak up for what you need. Don't let other people bring other women down just because they...
But you can let other people bring men down?
No, but you can't let them bring you down.
You can't let them bring down men, even if they're bad men?
That's not really related to any of the questions that came up today. And I don't even think the airplane hangar men are bad men. I think just maybe Hank wants to read a book. Hank, what if you say, I'm really in the middle of a compelling book right now.
Yeah.
I can't play Risk.
And you bring in a 23-volume encyclopedia, so you can
How'd you say it?
Encyclopedia. So you can tell them, look, I got a lot of reading to do. As you can see, I'm only on the A's.
I'm only on the A's, and I need to get to Z. Maybe, is he a exennial? We don't know.
We don't know. He didn't give us his age.
Could be anything.
His relevant stats. All right. We'll see you next week.
Nice. Good luck, everybody.
That was a HeadGum podcast.